Hello and welcome in. I'm Mad Magical and we're here for day 2 of European Masters. I'm joined in by the one and only the UK man himself. It's Foxdrop. Foxdrop, it's great having you in.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here, and I like the phrase you use, we're here. Where exactly is here for you right now, man? Because I'm kind of, what's this about?
I got to Iceland, and that's about as much as I know.
Well, it's a very beautiful
It's cold.
place, so
It's cold.
yeah, I mean, you're only wearing a shirt though, to be fair. Like,
That's true.
I'm not trying to criticize, but you probably should have wrapped up a bit warmer.
I wasn't really thinking about it, you know. You don't really go out and think, I'm going to end up in an Icelandic cave today. You just kind of do, you know?
Alright, so that's the start of your day.
Right.
What have you got for the rest of your day here?
No idea. We're going to have to figure that out as we go, you know. We're just going to have to go through it one step at a time. And I think it's only appropriate that we break down what happened yesterday before we think about today. Because yesterday, we had all 4 teams of groups B, C, and D play in their games. And we get to see some of the highlights from those. Starting off with Kick Neosurf up against Team Singularity. And this play is just showing how Kick were so far ahead.
They were so dominant in their first game of the group stage here. Obviously, Kit came through the play-ins where they had a pretty dominant showing there as well. Singularity coming off the worst side of that first game, but we'll be seeing them later today as well, so we'll see if they can get some revenge.
We're hoping that they can maybe bounce back. This is a double round robin that we're going to be having for the play-in stage, for the main group stage, where you kind of maybe have that loss early on, and if you're able to bounce back, you get the jitters out of the way, it's all going to be fine. But that's only one of the amazing plays that we saw. We saw Leader on an Assassin, and we all know what happens when Leader is on Assassins. You pretty much are going to have a bad time.
It starts off, he's not even in the picture, but as soon as he starts creeping up, there he is, you see him, keep your eyes on Leader. He just finds a way to make it happen, you know. This is why Leader plays mostly these champions, it's why he eats so many bans on these kind of champions as well. Obviously, Leader and Obsessed, they won E-Masters a year ago in 2019 spring, so a very, very veteran lineup here from Mouse Sports. You got Promiscu and Yesker in that bot lane as well, so this is definitely a team to keep your eyes on as we move forward in the groups.
You got to keep an eye on them, especially like you said. It's just, you have Leader, someone who has been here before. He's been able to win, but he is very volatile. He has those pop-off moments, but it's a coin flip. You never know if it's going to be the Assassin Leader on that Akali, being able to jump over the walls, get up the kills, and then maybe not do so well in other games. It's all about how you're going to be able to perform on the day. And speaking of performing, we had a bloodbath. It was a slugfest of a game that was between Vodafone Giants and against LDLC, where it was down to the wire at 45 minutes, but in this base race, Attila somehow able to pull off the pentakill.
Yeah, this is one of the most satisfying pentakills I think I've ever seen, not just in professional play, but ever. The way the whole team chips in here to really give him this penta. It's got a triple right now. You're thinking, how on earth is he going to get a pentakill? There's 2 people hugging the Nexus towers. Well, Hades, he's gone. He's out of it already. Look at this.
I just love it.
This is Trundle.
It's great. This is amazing that they all just file in. Like, let's get the penta. Attila's gonna get it. So he does end up pulling off not only the penta, but the victory for Vodafone Giants. So they end up getting that. They are at the top of Group B with a Go Rogue. But here you can kind of see how it's broken down after day 1. Only 1 game played apiece for Groups B, C, and D. And we're going to finally get our first showing of Group A today.
Yeah, the LVP Spanish League, both starting with some wins, and also the Polish League as well. This is what we've got today. We've got BTXL as our first game of the day. Personally, I'm a little bit biased, obviously, because I am English. I am looking forward to seeing this one. But this is the UK second seed versus the French first seed in GamersOrigin. And I honestly think this is going to be an absolute fire of a matchup to start the entire day off.
I completely agree, because BTXL, on paper, should have been the number 1 seed coming in from the UKLC. They were undefeated in the regular season. Going into playoffs, they were able to easily smash 2-0 in the semifinals, but then going into the finals, where they were on a hot streak. They haven't lost a single game yet. They, in fact, won the first 2 games of that best-of-5 series against Fnatic Rising, but Fnatic Rising lived up to that name and were able to reverse sweep to take and usurp the title from BTXL.
It feels a bit like, you know, XL got a hold of the monkey's paw. I only want to lose 3 games this season. And the monkey's paw curled up and all 3 games with that reverse sweep in the finals.
That's actually a good way to think of it. They gambled with it. They should have taken the losses in the regular season. They still could have gotten first seed if they had done that.
True. Well, they're still into EU Masters now, and they're trying to prove right now that they are actually worthy of that number 1 seed. They unfortunately let slip out of their hands, but they're up against very tough opposition here in GamersOrigin. The LFL, the French league, they're pretty good. They won it all a year ago when Misfits won it. They're always considered one of the leagues that you put a lot of focus on coming into EU Masters. And really for the UK scene, it's been a little bit of... Fnatic Rising have reached top 4 the last 2 EU Masters. That's great, but they're a little bit on the outside of the conversation of one of the strongest ERLs. And you know, BTXL want to get off to a good start like Fnatic did yesterday to prove, you know, the UK actually is one of the top regions.
And that's going to be a big task to ask from them going up against GamersOrigin. Because you already mentioned it, that the LFL have been a pretty dominant team. They've in fact won European Masters in the past with Misfits Prime. So maybe this could be here where we see GamersOrigin proving that France is still a very strong region, or this could be UK's time to shine where they go, now we are the ones coming out, we're going to take it home, we're finally going to be able to bring it home, but we are in the midst of Champion Select. You can see Kalista, Syndra, Jarvan all banned away by XL. Kalista, not too surprised to see banned so often. It's something that can be flexed. All these flex picks are things that really stand out to me, similar to Set, where you're now starting to see them in top, mid, and even support.
Yeah, and kind of surprisingly and a little bit strangely, Shemek doesn't play any Set at all. Like, he does not like that champion. No. So you probably see a lot of Set bans coming out from GamersOrigin in this tournament. BTXL are opting for the Varus first pick here, and they do have a lot of options still as to protective supports if they want to match it up with like the Tom Kench or something like that. Even Yumi's open as well. And we'll see, like, GamersOrigin, do they want to answer with priority on the jungle pick? The reason why I'm saying that specifically is you don't usually see a lot of jungle prio, but yesterday we saw a butt ton of it, Trundle. Specifically from the Trundle pick as well. And bluezor for me is he's a big guy. He's a big guy for this GamersOrigin, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them put a little bit of focus on him in the draft.
He's one of those players that's been around kind of working his way up, being a pretty good solid rock for a lot of these teams in European Masters. You and I were talking about it before, how bluezor has slowly been climbing his way, proving each and every step of the way why he's someone that is sought out by so many teams. And I wouldn't be surprised if one day we do see him in the LEC, because he has been that player, has been learning so much. And I think here, going up against BTXL, there is some that you can either prove going up against someone like Taxer, who's been around the scene as well. Say, hey, I know how to beat you. Even though you've gotten this Gragas that is a pretty good matchup to Trundle, they felt confident grabbing that Trundle because it has been that pick, the jungle pick, that has really been meteoric in its rise and prominence.
Yeah, absolutely. And Gragas has normally been banned when teams have first picked the Trundle. So, as you say, this is a good answer into the Trundle to get that Gragas throw as well. And Special playing something that honestly really suits Special as well. He's the type of player to pick more of the kind of like the Zoes, the LeBlancs, the more kind of like catchy style. Mid lane is a bit more flashy as well. So there's that, playing that into the Azir, quite comfortable there. And toucouille, GamersOrigin, they're going to lock in Ornn as their top laner. Shemek really does kind of fill that role in the top lane of being the guy you just sit there, you let him do his thing, and he will exist as a top laner in your game. You don't put a lot of responsibility on his shoulders because you don't need to. And Ornn is a perfect pick to kind of go alongside that.
Looking at XL, they tend to have more of the carry top lane style anyways, so this could be the time to ban out things like Renekton. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe even go for an Aatrox or a Gangplank ban. Sendu's been playing a lot of that throughout the UK LC, so take that away where he's been prominent and pretty much dominating on that champion. As you see on the other side for BTXL, Yuumi, I bet you're happy to see that one there, Foxtrot. No Yuumi on the book today. Ezreal also going to be probably out of the question for XD's SMILEY. That's something I expected to see them grab before the Ornn. I thought that they would go for that as a higher tier than just trying to go for a top lane that could be countered.
Yeah, they're putting a lot of emphasis on Sendo's champion pool. As you said as well here, though, you've got you still got Aatrox open, you still got Gangplank, and something that Sendo's actually played a lot of in the past is his Gnar. So, and not necessarily seen that a lot this season. I don't think, but either way, I remember seeing it. I think it was even like at E-Masters in 2018 where he whipped it out and went like, you know, like the classic Blade the Ruined King Wits End build kind of thing, you know, and like pure split push build. And honestly, if they're looking to, I've seen stranger things from Sendo, so I don't really think that you can pinch his pull too hard here, because there's still a lot of good options for that top lane.
Right here it is. Going to be Aphelios that's hovered. I was thinking the Aphelios or Misfortune, both of those not actually seeing the bench. Unusual for such a long time. Both of those champions have been dominating in the bot lane, but going all the way down to the second rotation of picked bans after the second phase of bans, seeing Aphelios finally locked in for XD SMILEY, the thing that he was playing the most over in the LFL. So it's something that they want to be able to take that's a little bit more comfortable, that he's been playing and scrimming probably a lot against a lot of these other French teams.
I'm a little bit surprised to see like a Yuumi focus in those bans. There's a Gangplank, as you said, for Sendo, because HustlinbeasT doesn't tend to play a lot of that style of champion. He's much more of the I'm going in. He's the Smork support, if you will. Like he plays like the Leonas, the Nautiluses, the Thresh. I know some of these are already taken off, which is cool. But even things like Rakan and Galio, like he will favor over more supporty style support. So kaSing hovering his trademarked Zillion, as he's kind of made a name for himself in the EULCS in the past and LEC too. But it is going to be a Braum. Very, very protective, focused support to match up with that Varus, who can be a little bit vulnerable. And it's kind of surprising to me, because firstly, this is like a decent pick like with Varus, but it's also so good versus Ornn. Like it's
that's what I was gonna
good
say.
against the Ornn. I was waiting
for you to mention the Ornn and how that's really where the counter comes in.
It makes you look like you're playing the game on hard mode if you're Shemek, and I would have considered chucking a ban onto that one, but hey, we got it in this game now, so we'll see if kaSing can really throw down the wall and make Shemek's life a living hell.
At least that's the goal. That's what you're going to try to do at playing that Braum for kaSing. And I think it also works very well with Varus in the bot lane, because you mentioned how Varus can be vulnerable, but it is up against an Aphelios. It's not like it's going up against something that could punish it a little bit more. Maybe the Lucians, where it's about that lane bully kind of style. XD SMILEY is playing Aphelios who can bully a bit, but that's why you get the Braum, to be able to put up the wall, put up the shield, say, we're going to protect you, get you through this lane phase, so that way you can really shell out that damage come mid-game.
Yeah, and I'm actually quite excited to see how these team fights play out, because both teams have fairly good 5v5s, but they also have kind of like interesting interactions with each other. So you've got Gragas, which is a really, Gragas splits fights, but Gragas Taric wants grouped fights, right? So that's a nice benefit for Taxa. Also, we touched on the Ornn with Braum too. So it's one of these things where if BT play it well, they actually have some pretty good answers for GamersOrigin here. But at the same time, like if you can just like wait out a little bit of things like the Gangplank and like the first kind of the big push in that comes from things like Braum as well, then at the same time, GamersOrigin also can just like run you down and have that sustained DPS.
This is where I like what BTXL have done with their composition, because you mentioned it, the run at you, run you down composition of GamersOrigin can catch some teams off guard, but then you go for a LeBlanc, you go for Gragas, you have the disengage of Gragas and Varus,
oh my goodness,
but you also have where you could easily flank and try to get a lot of damage. XD SMILEY way too far out, he's going to easily be rooted up, and first blood gifted to Taxer.
That is 5,000 IQ though for a level 1 play. Like legit, you saw Taxa jumped over the wall, and I was like, well, only he's gonna go over the wall. How's this gonna work? And it's like, wait a tick, they're gonna sandwich him, aren't they? And bam! Now just exactly what they did. XD SMILEY, he used to play in the UK scene back in the day as well, and the UK boys are giving him his first death of the tourney.
Saying, hey, this is how we're gonna play. We're gonna make sure that you regret leaving the UK scene. You should have stayed here, kid, and maybe you would have had a little bit of a better time. But with that first death into the bot lane, gives priority over to Deadly and kaSing. Deadly is someone who You talked about how XD SMILEY left the UK scene. Deadly had left himself last year, rejoining over on XL, and is really the new kid for this entire roster. The guy who wants to be able to prove that he's going to be able to bring UK success, because he got all the way to second place last EU Masters.
Yeah, Deadly, he's an English boy, but he's been playing a long time in the Spanish league, in the LVP. As you say, got second place last year with Vodafone Giants. And I think, Deadly kind of has some big shoes to fill, because you've got the likes of like Hyanon, Inax, they are like the alumni of XL AD carries. And I think actually this bot lane has been a really a good, stable carry threat from the side of XL throughout the entirety of the series as well. They're very reliable, which I think is something that is quite important when you're going into tournaments like EU Masters especially, because it means that they're less likely to get like exploited by some of the other teams. And having a strong bot lane to play around in the current meta especially, I think is a really good benefactor to your team.
And with that kill earlier on from Taxer, getting the wraparound on XD SMILEY, forcing him to have to recall unwillingly, where he had to go back to his own base, it gave that priority over to Deadly and kaSing. This really has made it so Deadly can prove that he is this up-and-coming ADC, filling the shoes, like you said, of the alumni of XL, that he is actually going to be another one of those that rises to dominance.
I'm actually really interested to see what Taxer decides to do this game as well, because getting that first blood meant that he bought Predator boots at level 1. So he doesn't need to go for his reset before he picks up his boots and starts ganking. So he kind of has like a faster kind of timer on that first gank, which he hasn't done yet. But it also means that he's been able to opt into more of a full clear, whereas normally Gragas, what they do is they just clear one side of the jungle, they get level 3, they recall, pick up those boots, and then go for a play. He was able to actually stay out a bit longer, get some more gold, and that means that he's also been able to secure this this crab here. So he's on even pegging with bluezor as a Trundle, which is really good for Gragas.
With priority mid and bot as well, only one is Sendo in that top lane getting shoved in by Shemek. Pretty much what you'd expect in the Ornn Gangplank matchup is just early on, the base damage of Ornn's going to be able to bully a bit of Gangplank, but this is why you can utilize one of those lanes that's winning. Send special into the top lane, and force Shemek underneath the turret. He's going to be quite fine and alright, doesn't even have to flash, and bluezor able to show up himself, maybe get a little bit of damage on to Sendo. Just going to get the flash out of Gangplank instead. Predator was popped by Predator, flashed in, but gets the flash out of bluezor. So not actually going to be able to get too much more. Okay. 2 flashes for 1.
Okay. I see what's happening in this game. That's nice. That's it was a bit disjointed here, It's like XL kind of like read that play, right? That's why they had Taxer running in that top lane, but he was just like he just wasn't quite there in time. Like they were a little bit disjointed and out of sync in the timings there for that play. But all in all, trading flashes there, I actually think kind of works for GamersOrigin as far as the junglers are concerned, because I think Gragas is more reliant on his flash than Trundle is, especially if you're setting up some really cheeky plays. But also Gangplank's flash going down too means that maybe you'll be able to see something happening there, because he is someone that without that flash is kind of vulnerable, so you might be able to get something going on him later.
Especially early in the game, Gangplank needs to be able to farm up. Look at what Sendo got on his first back. He got some boots and a call. Not really going to be able to bully back Shemek. An Ornn who's going to be fine buying his own items, going to be able to wave clear, shove you in for days, then use that TP flank somewhere else to try to see if they can get advantages. This is where I want to see GamersOrigin taking... Oh, they used the TP top. Not sure if I agree with that.
Yeah, I think that... You were about to say something about the TP, weren't you? And then bam, they put it out in the top lane.
Ruined my
Well, the dragon is up on the bot side of the map, right? I think that was maybe what you're getting at, is that you have this advantage now, and you can try and do something. That is something that Gangplank does bring to the table, is he has more map pressure without having to use his teleport, because obviously he's got his ulti. Right now he's level 5, but still he'll be hitting that 6 soon. But it looks like XL, with that push in the mid, with that push in the bot side, they're just going to be able to take control of this area of the map. And alongside this territory comes the Ocean Dragon, something that Taxer will happily gobble up here.
It'll be very nice for Taxer, very nice for Sendo in the top lane as well. Gangplank, who's going to get shoved in a decent amount and forced to use a lot of abilities in order to clear out these waves against Shemek. Would have been nice that you tried to stop that on the side of GamersOrigin, but it does seem that they're just trying to play the patient game. But they do have a lot of good scale. Ornn being able to give those crucial upgraded items to toucouille in that mid lane on Azir, someone who's going to be very threatening around these objectives as the game continues to scale.
And something that GamersOrigin are absolutely no strangers to is playing the scaling game. They have something like a 48% first blood rate, but they still win like 70% of their games. Like, this is not unfamiliar territory for GamersOrigin. You know, watching this stuff, it's not like, oh, they're falling behind early. Could this be? No. GamersOrigin are totally comfortable playing in this situation, in this scenario, and just as you said too, like, their scaling is fine as well. So they're happy to be in this one, and XL really going to look to push it forward here. You know, you've got that early advantage. What can you do with it?
I'm so glad you mentioned playing around your strengths. GamersOrigin play around the objective game. That's always been their MO of what they do in order to win games. They don't care about getting the kills early. They care about objectives, getting turrets, getting Shelly is the first one. Harriet's the second, Rift Herald. I had this whole discussion with Yamato yesterday. But anyways, going past that, they're all about getting the turrets.
Yeah. And they're looking to do something cheeky here as well. Taxa is in the top side right here, and he will be able to respond with his Predator boots. Here they go.
Gonna be able to get the double knock-up into the slam to Sendo. No way to be able to get out of that one. bluezor gonna be very happy that they're gonna be able to get the kill onto him, and in the mid lane might even be able to get the kill back. kaSing not able to land that Winter Spite. That was what let toucouille be able to live and makes it to the play for GamersOrigin is a benefit in the end.
So they do punish the flashless Gangplank there. As you're mentioning, Gangplank pretty vulnerable in this stage of the game once you got a huge wave under your tower. Wasn't able to get the backup that he needed to survive that play. And that looked a little bit whiffy from kaSing, you know, completely missing his Winter's Bite, but I think he was trying to predict the Azir flash, which is why he threw it so far forward. But either way, you know, that's a lot of pressure being put down to GamersOrigin mid laner, and the timings here might mean that XL can pick up this Shelly, but GamersOrigin, they're not going to get this up for free.
Yeah, especially because they don't have Cannon Barrage out of Sendo, nor do they have the TP. This isn't looking like it's going to be a very good fight. So low onto Shelly. Got to be smote and taken by Taxer, but now he's locked into the pit. They're looking for the chase. Cannot get over the wall. Good placement of the pillar to be able to pick up the kills. Special had to be able to distortion out of there. Gonna force the Glacial Fissure out of kaSing as well. And Deadly on the other side was able to get the kill onto Hustling. Seeing if they can continue the chase. GamersOrigin want to get the carries instead, knowing that Deadly already able to get the one kill onto Hustling. Maybe going to be able to pick up the kill onto kaSing. Get the thumbs up. It's okay. Killing spree in for bluezor.
I like the thumbs up there from kaSing. It's like, we're all friends here. This doesn't need to happen, right? We can just chill out. Unfortunately, no. They're not your friends. They don't like you. They're bringing you down. This is a nice Gragas ulti here as well on the Shelly play to get bluezor away from the pit here, because BTXL, no, they can't fight this. They're not looking to fight this. They're not trying to fight this. They're just trying to get the objective and then run away. Deli does pick up this kill on the top side, which is actually quite a nice pickup for him. Probably gets a little bit of a cheeky kill that he shouldn't be getting in that situation, but all in all, this is a good fight for GamersOrigin, and you're seeing the kind of the strength of champions like Trundle and why there's so much priority being put on him so far. He's 3-0-0 for goodness sake. he's pretty big at this point, and he's going to be quite scary as the game goes on.
The only thing is, you would love to have that gold put on someone more like SMILEY or toucouille. Having your Trundle be the one with the most gold is not really the best thing that is going to help you be able to scale up into the game, especially with what you've drafted for GamersOrigin. So it's going to be on bluezor to be able to put that gold somewhere else. Where can he translate that lead into?
Yeah, and the thing with bluezor as well, which is kind of funny for me watching this game, is that bluezor likes to focus on the more carry style champions because he's just that kind of player. And here he is on the Trundle. Wow. Being a carry anyway. You know,
fighting like against a special, the LeBlanc. It's saying, I don't care.
Yeah, that is not a fake check you want to... that's not happy times for special there. Trundle is scary, you know. He's even got that jungle item completed as well. So this next kind of 3 to 4 minutes right now is going to be a bit tricky, I would say, for XL. And Dragon is spawning in like 15 seconds. So we'll see whether, you know, GamersOrigin can actually take this one and equalize the Dragons.
It'd be nice for them to be able to deny that from XL. Make sure you get the Infernal for yourself. Well, not necessarily going to be able to help you dish out that much more damage. It's only the first one. Being able to deny that to someone like Special or even Taxer, who want to be able to flank. Try to see if they can wrap around your composition, pinch you in like they did at that level 1 play where they got first blood onto XD Smiley. It'll be nice for GamersOrigin to deny that tool.
So this is, yeah, this is, okay, there they go.
There it is, and good Empress Divide. It was definitely an over-ambitious play, if you ask me, by Taxer, thinking that they could get at least something out of toucouille, pop Shelly into that mid lane, but it's going to be immediately caught by toucouille and bluezor. It's all a thing if they can just delay for that dragon, but it just feels like that. It's delaying.
Right. They're just trying to make a dragon play here, put pressure on GamersOrigin so they can run and take dragon, but the problem is, like you say, it was a bit overzealous here from BTXL. It wasn't really the play they were looking for. They did have a slight time when XD SMILEY, HustlinbeasT was still topside, and Deadly and kaSing had rotated down. Maybe they could have tried to do something there, but that was their attempt to try and do something. It just didn't work. So we're going to get back to more standard plays here, and this dragon is still going to be contestable. For me, I have to give the advantage over to GamersOrigin. But more importantly than this, oh, okay, here's the TP.
That TP play, they're going to be able to get the stun on Taxer. They did so much damage, already making him have to go golden. It's way too late. They're already going to be able to pick up the kill for XD SMILEY. Also got the ult, double kill in for XD SMILEY. Special going to barely be able to limp away from the battle. As Deadly might have to flash over the wall to get out of dodge. Not this time with the pillar from bluezor to be able to deny them from being able to escape with Sendo. Maybe going to be able to fight over the red buff instead. Has to bail knowing that GamersOrigin won the fight.
It's just an ugly situation right here for BTXL. You're really not strong enough in these group top scenarios. Like you've got the Taric ult, which is going to make it very hard for you to play that. You've got the Ornn ulti coming down as well. And they weren't able to get any of the counters off, like I was talking about in the beginning of the game. Like they weren't able to separate the fight with Gragas ult, because honestly Taxer just got caught out there. Yep. They weren't able to block the Ornn ulti particularly effectively either with kaSing, and it just leans into just a really awful fight for BTXL. And even this TP here from the LeBlanc, like she's sitting on a lost chapter and a blasting one. Like it doesn't really do much. Like
no,
BTXL are just not strong at this point, and you can't be taking fights like this, and this is going to lose them the dragon, losing some kills as well. And I'm curious, I didn't quite see what the next dragon will be, but if it's okay, it's Cloud, so that's a little bit of a plus for BTXL here, because I think the Mountain would have been quite scary. Now when you've got the Trundle and you've got the Ornn, you've got the Taric, Mountain is quite a scary one to go up against. Cloud Dragon's a little more less punishing for the English squad.
Especially because you're not really trying to see if you rotate around the map for GamersOrigin. They're more about forcing those fights, trying to get the straight front to back team fight. You mentioned it earlier, Foxy, just trying to get everyone corralled, especially around the objectives like Baron. That's going to be Baron later on in the game, but this next Rift Herald I think is where you're going to see a little bit more resistance out of GamersOrigin. They tried to fight over that first one, barely lost out, but they won the fight afterwards.
Yeah, I think at this point, Special on this LeBlanc, he still doesn't have his first item build, so it's going to be a little bit of time until he becomes particularly useful. And what he's going to be looking to do is try and just like put pressure on the enemy squishies. Like he's already got bad targets in Ornn and in Trundle, but if he can get like a cleanse or a flash out of basically SMILEY, toucouille as well, on that Azir, like these are good targets for him to go for, and it makes those fights that GamersOrigin are going to be looking to take. It makes that a little bit easier for BTXL if they can have that summoner advantage.
Right now it is going to be a bit of a fight around this river control, with Harriet having spawned on to the rift. It does seem that GamersOrigin are going to fight around the objective tooth and nail, making sure that BTXL not going to be able to get onto the top half of the map. They even have TP from Shemek if they want to be able to get him in, but toucouille taking a little bit too much damage from Special. Throw it back, stun lands from bluezor, but
good.
Look at the damage that comes in. It's a shutdown. Gifted over to Deadly. toucouille on the other side, not able to get inside with that Shurima Shuffle to be able to get the Empress Divide. So they have to back out of that, and the kill on bluezor is going to give that advantage over to XL.
I actually thought that was going to be a good play for GamersOrigin, because Special went in to try and get the pop off, like I was talking a little bit about. But then when you have a distortion pad, it makes a pretty easy pillar for Trundle to slap down. And I thought that was it. I thought Special was done, but that was a really good turnaround there, and what great timing as well, because look at that. There's Shelly. She's just, oh sorry, what would you call it?
Harriet.
This one's Harriet? I don't know how you guys came up with that, but okay. But yeah, okay, it's going to be another contest here.
Yeah, they're actually going to put up the fight. They got the TP coming in from Shemek on the other side. Going to see if the Taxer can get out of this one. Blast going over the wall. Knockback was not there for Shemek, but they do force him off for now. Waiting for bluezor to be able to get into the pit to be able to try to see if they can smite that away. Down so low. Not going to be the smite fight from Taxer. Giving it over instead, saying it's not worth it.
So the really awkward thing here is the inside track that GamersOrigin now have to the mid lane because of the way this fight was positioned and how it happened. Like, holy moly, you have 5 people in your mid lane, you just got the Rift Herald, you're gonna get like 2 towers, like straight up.
I think it's gonna be the second tower too. That's what I was about to mention. It is gonna be that first turret gold as well going to GamersOrigin. So you get the first turret gold. You get the second charge onto the tier 2 in mid. It's forcing BTXL to have to answer, but they already lost the turret. Using the ult out of Taxer just to try to see if he can get some wave clear just isn't going to work out in the day, as Shemek was able to get a good trade onto Sendo as well.
Yeah, that is such a big play right there for GamersOrigin. Really well done. The fact that they were able to win that fight and what they got out of it as well was incredible for these guys. And you're looking at the gold as well right now. There's a pretty big lead in the jungle and in the mid lane, but Deadly still has that advantage over XT SMILEY. So they still have that player that they can play around. And he does have a little bit of a bounty as well, so he's going for that. With him going for the on hit build, makes it a lot easier for him to take down the tanks that will get in his face as well. And all in all, that should make it a bit easier for XL to navigate these team fights. If you're looking for like a silver lining out of this early game right now, you know, there is still that the gold is still pretty even, right? So still a very close game.
And with that, it is something that XL were able to do well there. They realized that they had fallen short in the mid lane. They lost out on the fight around Harriet. They decided instead they kept special top lane so they could get the tier 1. They were able to send Sendo into the bot lane so they could get the tier 1 there. Unfortunately, sacrificing this, so it is going to be the turret advantage to GamersOrigin, but they don't lose out as much as you'd expect with that fight. This turret being so low, they can easily rotate it, take more gold, and continue to keep it dead even.
So that was actually really smart by XL there. So I think the GamersOrigin thought they were going to trade a tower for the Cloud Dragon, which I didn't care too much about, but I'm not quite sure they appreciated that they lost the mid lane tower there too. So that was a really good response from XL. Getting that first mid lane tower down is nice, opens up the map just a little bit there for you. But you know, GamersOrigin are not done. They're gonna keep pushing here. There's not a lot of bodies close to this top side, so that's just it's just gone.
Good calls coming in on each side, I gotta say. BTXL being able to get the tier 1 in mid, so it opens up the jungle a little bit of GamersOrigin, but then GamersOrigin smacking back. They already were able to get the tier 2 in mid, so they have completely destroyed any kind of semblance of control that Taxer would have of his own jungler, and then made it so they could easily take that tier 2 in the top lane. They have pushed 2 lanes down to the inhibitor, where if they can win a fight around this Baron, that is easy for them to then open up the base.
And this game is so close, like 20 minutes in, we're almost dead even in gold. And it really goes to show the caliber of these two teams that you're seeing here as well. You know, we mentioned in the draft, BTXL won all of their games. They didn't lose a single one until game 3 of the finals, where they got reverse swept, which is why they're the number 2 seed. But even GamersOrigin, like, they were 3rd overall in the regular season in the LFL, and they had to take the ridiculously hard gauntlet run to make it far enough in the playoffs, where you'll win it all and then you get 1st seed in France. So, you know, a lot of kind of like different paths to get to EU Masters from these teams, but
Foxy,
still very evenly matched.
That not only did they have to go through the gauntlet, they ended up going through the gauntlet. They started the first as part of it, you know, 5 games. It was barely they were able to edge out Team Vitality B. But then when they get to the finals against LDLC, they swept them.
Yeah, they were just powering up. They were just charging. You know, and then once they got to that point, everything else was a warm-up for them. And they won the games where it mattered. Quite not the same that can be said for BTXL.
Special going to be stunned up before he can distortion back. Cosmic Raid is going to be able to keep bluezor alive for quite a lot of time, as attacks are taking so much damage from Subjugate and that chomp out of Trundle. 2-level lead between the 2 junglers. GamersOrigin, while it has been slippery where BTXL were able to find certain avenues to be able to win, they are starting to get this experience lead onto the members that matter.
This is not the first time we've seen Trundle with a 2-level lead over the enemy jungler as well. We saw it in the first game of yesterday, Schalke versus Movistar, where the Trundle was 2 levels ahead of Lee Sin in that game. And it really just allows you to play with such more like poise and confidence when you're moving around the map, when your jungler is not only 2 levels ahead, but it's the type of jungler that just right-clicks people and is beefy, you know, because it's kind of hard to get caught when you're playing that kind of champion. Like, it has happened once this game, but even in that scenario, like we just saw, They threw a lot of stuff, XL did, at bluezor, but they still weren't able to take him down. They really need Deadly to be able to whack down some more attacks if they want to find a way to bring him down relatively easily. And without that, honestly, he's just too strong, it's just too tanky.
You got Subjugate, and then you got Cosmic Radiance out of HustlinbeasT just to keep him alive longer. It's so difficult to kill him. He's already tanky enough, and maybe if they can get a full pick without HustlinbeasT being nearby, they could have done something, but they just don't have the confidence to be able to step up into the jungle of GamersOrigin. BTXL, trying as they might to fight over vision control, just cannot do too much because of how much they've already lost on the top half of the map.
Yeah, GamersOrigin in a really, really nice spot to deny all the vision around the Baron. And when you're playing with vision compared to playing without vision, it's a lot easier to execute game strategy. And the reverse, if you're playing without a lot of vision, special mate, you're on a wall.
He knows.
Yeah, okay.
I think he's trying to bait them. I think he was trying to get them away so that he could maybe get them to do something else. But look at that flash from XD SMILEY. What a Chad move, giving the kill over to toucouille. Special, my man. That was definitely something special. I gotta give you that.
Are you still think he was baiting that one, or maybe he was just
I was
not
trying to
too
give him
keen
the
on
benefit
it?
of the doubt. Come on, man.
That's fair. I respect that. This Baron is taking not too long to go down. It's down to 3k health already.
That's what happens when there's an Azir on the other team. They can take it really quickly. Effort survive to make sure that there's not going to be an entrance in for Taxer. It's going to be smoked down by bluezor to make sure that they can take that objective easily. They'll be able to back off GamersOrigin, having the advantage. This is what they do when they play their games. They wait for the objectives. You get toucouille onto Azir, you melt those objectives so fast, and you can easily back out all off the back of it, Special being way too far out.
That was really, really well played from GamersOrigin to make that Baron not a 50-50. So many times you'll see this, especially in solo queue. And no, I'm not salty because I'm a jungle player who plays solo queue. Where the team will initiate the Baron and the rest of the team is like, you know what? We started this, therefore this is our Baron, obviously. What could go wrong? And bam, you flip the whole game on a smite fight. And in this scenario here, you know, you've got the... they completely zone away Taxer, which makes it so that they don't have to do that smite fight. And they can just secure that Baron scot-free.
Scot-free. Even use Emperor's Divide to make sure Taxer can't get into the pit. It is traded for a Cloud Dragon, the second one for BTXL. So a little bit more cooldown reduction, I guess, is gonna be nice for their ultimates, but it is one of those, it's just that. It's consolation prize, silver linings abound, trying to see what you can get, but toucouille, maybe putting on a little bit of cosplay of special hit. He does get out of that one with a flash and the Stream of Shuffle, all the while his team bot lane going to be able to shove in this final tier 1 that survives for BTXL and might even be able to march that right to the second.
When you're on the back foot like XLR right here, the pressure is on you to make something happen, and if you can do it, that's great, but it's pretty tricky to do so, and the punishment for failing it is what you're seeing right here. XL might be looking for the engage. Oh, that's a good ult.
Get the pick on XD SMILEY, but Cosmic Radiance barely going to be able to keep him alive.
Oh.
Deadly taking so much damage, almost taken down, but look at Special being able to get the shutdown onto SMILEY. Take one member, make sure the guy who's taking down the turret's gone, but look at how low they got just to get that kill. It doesn't seem like it's worth, because they're just going to be able to push right into the base of BTXL.
Yeah, pushing in bot side, and Shemek is already doing stuff on the top side of the map as well. So yeah, you're able to get a kill out of it. Like XL actually come out on top of that one with the kills, but because everyone was so low, like you say, it created this window for GamersOrigin to actually push in, and it's so difficult right here. You've got 2 inhibitor towers right now on the opposing sides of the map as well, which makes it even harder for you to cover it completely with your team. 2 of these inhibitor towers are really, really low, and Baron is still alive for GamersOrigin for a little bit longer.
That was definitely a Pyrrhic victory for BTXL, able to get the kill, but maybe going to be able to get one more on a HustlinbeasT. He has to flash over the wall, but it is a LeBlanc who can easily follow up. Good use of that for Survive to make sure he can't go any further. Just throw the shoulder at him one more time, as it is going to be the inhibitor turret taken in the top lane. bluezor trying to see if he can kite himself back to Shemek so they can have a little bit of reinforcements, and it will be enough to be able to get the jungler out of there.
Slow and steady wins the race. You don't need to pick any flashy champions in the top lane if you've got Baron buff and a big blooming hammer to whack down towers. Ornn is able to take that one down. Normally Ornn's known for building stuff, you know, it's not really known as like a demolisher, but hey, it works in this game. And that has now opened up a little bit of the map here, a pressure point, where as Gamers Origin are playing this one pretty slow, you're able to chip away objectives here, and it's another thing that XL have to be worried about, it's another thing that they have to defend, and honestly they already had enough things to be worried about this game.
It's the scaling composition doing what it does best, scaling into the game, getting stronger and stronger as each moment passes. You already start seeing the Molten Edge there for XD SMILEY, having the Forge Cape for Shemek, as well as going for that upgrade on the Abyssal Mask. Going to be able to spread the wealth to the other members soon once they get items that he can actually upgrade. It's just this advantage that Gamers Origin have when you have Ornn, you have Azir as well, who's going to get stronger and stronger as the game continues. Where you already saw how devastating he can be towards these objectives, and for me right now, I'm just wondering what BTXL can do to get back into this game.
It's really tough because BTXL have already tried to make picks, and that's not really happened. They haven't been able to execute that. But then if you look at the team fights where you want to use the power of Deadly and the 3-item Varus, how do you make space for Deadly to do his thing? Like, you've got one frontliner in Braum with the shield, but that's really it, you know, and that's not a lot of space to work with. Especially when Tax are looking at his build, you know, he's gone for the Oblivion Orb. That's not going to help him in these team fights at all. So we'll see what they can pull out of the hat, if anything. But this game's looking really tough for them to execute right now.
They definitely can't have a victory like they did last time, where they threw so much at the enemy just to get one kill. bluezor is the one knocked back into the back and taking a lot of damage on to kaSing, who's going to fall immediately out of coming out of the res. Try to see if they can jump on to Attaxer, getting the flash out of him as well. toucouille not going to be able to use his ult just yet, but here comes Ornn, looking for the knock-up on special, misses. So instead they have to back off, looking where the minions are. They're pushing into that top lane, getting a little bit of damage coming in from special, but it's not anything too special because he has to back out of there immediately.
Yeah, and again, you know, you're seeing it with Varus. He did a decent amount of damage onto Trundle. Like that, a lack of damage is not his problem. It's just the way to facilitate that damage and actually get it out onto the team of Gamers Origin. He was a little bit out of position in that scenario there, but honestly, like, if you're going to be pushed out like that in the mid lane, then, well, don't. Honestly, like, I just don't think BTXL can right now, because this is a scenario that's just not going to end well for you guys. If you're XL, you know, Deadly, look at this. That's a decent amount of damage. It's not too bad. His right clicks are doing okay, but this is really all he can do. You know, like you have that team fight reset in the Taric ulti, and because you can't buy any more time because you don't have much of a front line, it actually becomes kind of hard for Deadly to do anything else in these fights. And yeah, BTXL are definitely staring down the barrel of the gun right now.
Really, they just got to see if they can wait it out and get this Gangplank, I guess, online, be able to utilize him on split push, but we've already mentioned before that waiting it out against a team that wants to be able to scale up like Gamers Origin isn't too good. You're going to just have to rush this Baron while they take that
This is desperate.
It's a desperation Baron. Are you going to be able to get in time, though?
No, is the answer to that question. Nothing good is going to come out of this. I can predict that one right now. It's, you know, they tried it, but realistically speaking, you just don't have the time to do that. You know, they do it relatively fast, but you know, Gamers Origin, they now have the inside track into mid lane. I feel like this is a bit of deja vu here, Mad Magical. You know, where Gamers Origin take the objective, run down mid.
Oh, this is not looking good. BTXL, you needed to be a lot faster on the trigger if you wanted to be able to get the Baron, or even if you wanted to be able to fight back, because look at the damage that's going to be a spit back on special on the back line. Try to see if they can jump on Hustling. Okay. They're going to be able to take away the Cosmic Radius, making sure they can get the damage onto bluezor, having to flash away from Deadly. Good block comes in from kaSing to make sure they don't have to worry about that Ornn, but they lost special. They lost the carry, and they only got Taric. All the while, the actual member who can take down these objectives, the inhibitors, falling. It's XD SMILEY and toucouille. They're flashing the little bit of BMs, and we can back out of here too. We won that fight.
Normally, when you're playing team fights, when you're playing League of Legends, you're looking at who do I want to kill? Who are the main targets here? You're looking at something like the Azir, the Aphelios, the carriers of the team. But in this play right here, Special gets a pretty good flank off to chunk HustlinbeasT down, which is then followed up with Tax's ultimate on Gragas too. And because HustlinbeasT goes down so early in this fight, This now means that, watch what Deli can do here against bluezor. He's able to just right-click his way in these team fights, and you're able to see actually why BTXL have drafted this team comp and how they can actually function around team fights. Because even though Taric is not a carry, he enables his carries so much, and he denies the carries of BTXL, that even just getting him down is still a good focus. The thing is, he's pretty blooming tanky, and what are the chances that you're going to be able to replicate what just happened there in another team fight? It's pretty slim, but if they can get something like that, they can nullify the Taric. That's how you have some success in these fights.
Which means they have to somehow be able to get back onto this map, try to see if they can get some of the vision away from GamersOrigin, so they can have Deadly be able to pop off, because they're all focused on Special or Taxer, who are behind them getting the damage onto carries like toucouille and XD SMILEY, so they have to take attention away from Deadly. That just seems so slim to none, because the Baron's going to be started up by GamersOrigin. They're not going to give up any time to breathe to BTXL.
Yeah, but they are pulling away from it right now, so BTXL are able to buy a little bit of time. Ornn can't just engage this one though, because he's playing versus a Braum, so unfortunately for him, ooh, they're going to get a bit split, but I'm not sure that's what you're looking for particularly.
No, in fact, it's going to be BTXL. They're the ones who are split up and shut down. Easy pick comes in from toucouille. The kid himself showing that he is here to win, and he wants to be able to take that crown, getting the flash out of Taxer to survive. But two are gone. The bot lane eviscerated for BTXL. GamersOrigin get the flash of Fnatic saying, it's all good, it's all Gucci. We're going to march it down mid, and we are going to take victory in our first game of European Masters.
Big props to Shemek though on the way that he engaged that fight. Who needs the Ornn when you can just flash, dash, ram, you stealth in a wall and look up the two carries. Beautiful stuff right there. Great execution from GamersOrigin on their game plan. They started off, I don't even really want to say they started off wobbly, because it's just GamersOrigin. Like, I mean, we pulled out the statistic. It's just how they play. But you know, the fact that they looked in control for a lot of that game, and I really like the way they moved around the map and their play around the objectives.
It was a clean game out of GamersOrigin, even though you mentioned they didn't get first blood. It was a slow early game. That's how they play. That's how they've played all throughout the LFL. That's how they're playing now. I don't think that they need to change, because it looked so clean. It was textbook out of them.
Yeah, and I think a lot of games in EU Masters especially, a lot of the struggles that you face in the group stage come from teams that you're not particularly well, not that you're not well prepared against them, but that you don't know too much about their squad necessarily, not used to playing versus them, and so they come out of the gate with something you're not quite expecting, and you get taken down in the early game and it snowballs. So for a team like GamersOrigin, if they're comfortable playing in that, then I think that's good tidings for them in the group stage moving on.
We'll talk about this game and break it down a little bit further, but we're going to toss it to a break, and when we come back, we'll give you that analysis of Game 1.
Magic.
Vous comprenez maintenant pourquoi j'ai créé la Magic? En un clip, vous devenez Magic.
La monture avec ces 2 clips pour 149 €.
C'est Magic.
Dispositif médical.
This is my creed. The boots that make me faster. The items that make me stronger. The potions that I drink. I get the best to be more powerful, so my champion rises to the top. But all this leveling up means nothing if I don't level up myself. It's the healthy potions I drink in real life that make me stronger. Because you can only rule the game when you realize you are your most important champion. To play like a pro, eat like a pro.
Welcome back. We are here to discuss what we just saw. GamersOrigin put on quite the showcase, and also speaking of showcase, I guess I'm in a different room now.
Hey, it's sushi, man. It's all good. Just as the Summoner's Rift very much suits GamersOrigin in this first game. That was a really good engage there by Shemek. He caught the tail end of it. He flash E'd into the wall. Like, he doesn't even need the Ornn. He's playing versus Braum. You know what? No problemo. No problemo whatsoever.
Ready for Shemek to pretty much do the same thing again, where he flashes forward, able to get the double knock up. Ah, so beautiful.
Yeah. It's just like, it's so nice when you're really hard countered as a champion. Like, genuinely, just seeing Braum in the enemy team completely takes away your ultimate as Ornn. But he's still able to make it happen. He's still able to get those spicy engages off. And next game we're going to be seeing YDN Gamers versus Gamer Legion. But that puts BTXL at a 0-1, which is not the start they were looking for. But the LFL, GamersOrigin, they're pretty happy.
It really is showing us right now why they were able to make that run through the gauntlet. Why they were able to go from being that #3 team in the regular season and just skyrocket up, win barely in the for the second round. Then third round, they take a 3-1 victory. Then in the finals, they go 3-0 because they have figured out what they want to do as a team. They've come together and they are looking dominant. Might even be one of those teams that we have to start talking about for the future of European Masters as maybe being a new favorite.
Anytime the LFL is in the European Masters, which is every time because they're always here, and the number one seed especially is always talked about a lot. Previously it's been LDLC, and it was LDLC who were in the finals in the LFL, so they are the number 2 seed coming in here. But you know, the LFL is really, apart from last year when they won it all with Misfits Premier, I think they've almost not quite live up to the expectations we have, but that's not necessarily because they do too poorly. It's because our expectations are so high because the French League is just so good.
Exactly, and that's something that we're going to just have to keep looking forward to, seeing how they're going to be able to improve. And we also need to kind of think how BTXL can improve, what they can do to kind of shore up some of the weaknesses, because unfortunately with their draft, they have this LeBlanc and Gragas, but they only make that early play, the flank play that we want to see out of them, that one time. They never were able to replicate that again, and moving forward, we got to ask ourselves if that's the style we want to see from them.
Yeah, and we've seen again, speaking of draft, we've seen like a lot of priority on the Trundle, which we might see moving forward a bit more as well in EU Masters, because we were seeing it yesterday. So our next matchup with YDA and Gamers versus GamerOrigin, I want to see if that Trundle does get picked a lot, because I do think specifically on the GamerOrigin side, Rabble, I think he's going to want to play some Trundle. Like, I think the Trundles, the Gragases, like that's in his wheelhouse, right? So I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of priority on those jungle picks specifically for GamerOrigin.
And this is GamerOrigin's a team that has figured out their game style. When it comes to plans, they only dropped a single game throughout it all. They were able to go 2-0 in the knockout stage to be able to get here and say, you know what, Prime League, there's a reason people have been talking about Germany, why they are so strong. This is why you need to look at us. Even if we're the 3rd seed, it does not matter. We're still here to compete. And YDN Gamers, they're going to have to prove to us that they can take down Prime League, that they are, you know, they're from Italy, and they had a very interesting finals over there, trying to see how it's going to go for the PG Nationals, but that's kind of their style. They can be an upset, a dark horse kind of style, that they are comfortable with whatever they want to do.
Yeah, I mean, Italy made it out of groups. They topped their groups in 2018, so definitely some potential coming out from them.
All right, well, we're going to toss it over to a break, and when we come back, it is going to be that matchup, Team GamerOrigin taking on YDN Gamers, so don't go anywhere.